Hey gang, not sure what we're going to do here, but I wanted to talk about expectations and how those expectations can often drive your final perception of a game, and how we let those potentially let those expectations build up, right? And I've got four games here that I probably want to refer to in terms of expectations and how they were set, and how I feel about those games now. But let's flip from say hi. I thought I'd say hi. It's been a while since I've been on camera. Nothing's changed. So expectations. Let's start with Fields of Fire. So haven't played it yet. My expectation is that it's a very complex game, that it has the potential to be satisfying, and that it is potentially a frustrating game to learn, even within the second version of the rules. And it's a solitaire game, so it's kind of got some dings against it for me because I'm not a big solitaire game player in general, because they tend to not have a lot of activities or decision-making processes for the player. You tend to be playing the AI 90% of the time. My understanding is this is different. That's why it's in my collection, and I'm looking forward to giving it a shot at some time. But my expectations are very, very low about how much enjoyment I'm going to get out of the game and what I'm going to think about the game and feel about the game. I'm probably not going to be as hard on it when I rate it or review it or talk about it or give my impressions. Yeah, I'm going to, this is pretty much what I expected, or whatever the case might be. Versus Desert Fox Deluxe, right? We are taking one classic game, which I'm really not a huge fan of, the Desert Fox, and the Trail of the Fox titles, the two SBI titles, redeveloped, completely torn apart. Different maps, different game system, really just doing the old decision games. Let's rebadge a game and put some other stuff underneath it. And my expectation about that game was that I was going to get a very interesting, very robust game system that dealt with the war in North Africa from a fresh viewpoint. And it was super popular. People were paying $300 just for the magazine version of it, which apparently had a lot of errata. I'm like, okay, errata, that's fine. Well, this box edition comes out, it's all fixed, right? Well, it wasn't, and there were other issues with it that either I found, other people found, and it was extremely disappointing. And I was really, really pissed. I was really pissed because I was set. I don't know if you guys may have seen the video. I was setting the maps up, going, "Oh, this is going to be great!" Woo! Sometimes it beggars belief how arrogant some designers can be when you're trying to offer feedback. Anyway, next two titles: Blood and Fury, World of War '85. We've been waiting 2 years for it. I finally got my copy of it, final production copy, as a review copy. And my expectations were very, very high. I had high expectations around the gameplay because I knew the system. I had high expectations around the production quality because I know Lock and Load Publishing tends to make pretty fabulous components. I had high expectations around scenario design. I had huge disappointments with the communication from Lock and Load Publishing, and I had huge disappointments with the delays. Put the game on the table. It's everything and more that I thought it would be as a 10 or 12, I think it's 12-pound box, right? It's got a lot of content in it. There are things that I wish were a little bit different with the game. I still think there's too many charts. I'm always flipping around trying to find bits and pieces. But there's a plethora of information for new players that you can pretty much play the game off of the charts if you want to. I tend to ignore most of that and go with what's in my little noggin and then look stuff up in the rulebook. It's just kind of how I roll. But my expectations were more than satisfied with the gameplay, quality components, and all the rest of it. It's fabulous, fabulous. The first two scenarios, I've played them both a couple of times. Super excited about them. The expansions are awesome, or expansion is awesome as well. And so, that was an expectation that was fulfilled. Let's have a chat about. Let's do Air and Armor. Let's get that out of the way. So with Air and Armor, once again, I have very high expectations, and those expectations were certainly they were predicated upon my gameplay of the original system, and I had a long conversation with the designer, who maybe there was the warning sign. He's quite a verbose chap when he's chatting, and his rules ended up being the same way, but my expectation was, based on the gameplay, that this would be a second edition / a redesign to a certain level, but it's completely different with some core mechanics kept. A lot of kitchen sink shit thrown into the game just cause. Hey, we should do this really detailed thing with there, and we should do this really detailed thing with this too. Oh, and what about AA? And so it took a game that I felt like was highly playable and consumable, and stuffed 146 pages of rules, of which 10,000 or 15,000 of those words were designer notes shoved in and around the rules, instead of putting them in a separate document, or putting them in a smaller font as a footnote or something different. And my expectations were met. And as far as production quality goes, Compass Games does great production quality these days. Fantastic counters, great maps, really good charts, terrible rule book in terms of binding and all the rest of it with the print. Because it's 146 pages, the print goes right down into the seam, into the glued binding, whatever you call that. And, it was just difficult to read, difficult to deal with, way too long. It ended up becoming a freaking snooze fest, right? I was like, I just can't read this anymore. I've now taken that rule book in PDF format, stripped out 50 or 40,000 words, thereabouts, 30,000 words out of that rule book. And now I'm going through the rule book, trying to summarize the rules to be concise. So rather than saying, here's what a rule is, and it kind of does this, and it does this too, and it also does that, and it might do this, and to be perfectly clear, it means this, I'm keeping the perfectly clear bit and ditching the rest, so that I can get the rules down to something approaching where it was when the game was originally published, the very first version, which, my friends, including charts, including scenarios, including the advanced and basic game, I'll say they clocked in at around 40 pages, tops, including all the charts, which no one's talking about online. They're all like, oh, well, the original rule book was 46 pages. Well, actually, it really wasn't. It's probably more like 18. And now it's 146 pages. Now, some people are playing. I'm seeing people posting some reports. I don't see many people posting reports. I think a lot of people are daunted by what's going on with the game. But there's certainly a very solid game in there. I played a couple of turns. I unfortunately played both of them wrong. And that was frustrating in of itself, just because of the way, missing things, because there's 146 pages of rules, and things are restated multiple times, and sometimes they're not restated exactly the same. A challenge. So, one of the things that I've also noticed with the whole expectation setting that I think is, I think it's an ego problem for us, right? We buy a game with an expectation it's going to be awesome, and when someone comes and shits on your baby and says, you know what, that's a dirty diaper, you need to pull that off and get rid of that. Get rid of the baby too while you're at it. We get upset because we've gone and dropped 120, 140, 50, $200 or $42 or whatever the number is on a game. We've spent our hard-earned coin, and then someone like me who posts stuff all the time or posts pictures about the gameplay or whatever says, you know what, I really don't like it, and here's why. That kind of makes you feel bad, because I've certainly had that experience where I have got super excited about a game. I'll give you a classic example: Chad Wars, Toyota, Toyota Wars, or the war in Chad, or whatever it is. So I was hunting high and low for that game, and I wanted a mint condition one, and wanted it all sexy and awesome. I got it. I paid a freaking fortune for it on Noble Night. Posted a picture of it. I'm like, woohoo! Look at me! I got this game. I'm so excited about it. First comment out the gate was, "Oh, dude, you beat go get the 42 pages of errata, and geez, it sucks, and it takes 14 hours to play, and it's stupid, and this happens, and that happens." And I was like, man, that's not good. That makes me feel bad. That makes me feel stupid because I haven't done my homework, or I bought something on a whim, and now it's going to suck. So that game's still on the shelf, and I got the new rule book. It's like 50 fucking pages. And I'm like, what the heck? I don't even know if it was the designer who fixed the rules. I don't know, but whatever it was a shit show. So that thing's going. That's gone. Now, final game that I'm going to talk about. It's this dude over here. Oh, wait. I guess I should turn the camera around, right? Dumbass. All right. ILO 1807, right? So, I've been playing, what are we in here? Probably only 4 turns or 5 turns, something like that. And thoroughly enjoying it. Had a couple of long conversations with the designer before the game was shipped, and I got a pre-production version, and I played a little bit of it. Played 3 or 4 turns, and that was back when I was on my dining room table, and so that had to get packed up. And I was like, yeah, okay, this works. I did an assault, and I did some combat, and did some firing. We didn't use the army fatigue system, didn't really get into the command system terribly much, because I think everyone basically got a command each turn in the little scenario I was playing. But so my expectations when I received my final production copy that I kickstarted or game founded or whatever you call it, I prepaid. I was kind of surprised. A, some ways in a good way, but B, in a bad way, because the rules really needed, with now that I'm playing in detail and in depth, really for a simple game, have a significant number of revisions and word edits and rule clarifications that are required. That all said, they're on 1.4 of the rules now. They're coming out to 1.5. I think 1.5 might be the joyous solution that we hope for. But that shouldn't have been the case. And I guess as a new publisher, I give a lot of grace here because they're a new publisher, and I talked at length with the designer publisher, and they got their head and their heart in the right place, and they want to be here for the long term. They want to make both war games and let's call them Euro strategy games, potentially. I'm not going to use the word conflict simulations. It's okay, Harold Buchanan, don't worry. I won't steal your terminology. War games, they want to make war games, and they want to make historically themed Euros, sort of strategic level things, which I think are nice gateway games for war gamers if we want to get people interested in history coming into wargaming. Anyway, I digress. So these guys, I think, have done a fantastic job from a production standpoint. I question some of the bits and pieces in it, but hey, that's just aesthetics to me, and functionality or usability to me. But I applaud the effort, and I hope that the lessons are learned that we can. Let me just flip back. I hope that the lessons are learned that they can, do a more thorough job in their language translation. Number one, they've got 2 English chaps who are helping out, so that should be much better now. And also with the thoughtfulness around how rules are worded. Sometimes making a simple game, it's harder to get the wording exactly right, so it means exactly what you want it to mean, than it is with a complex game where you can go into a general rule and 6 different cases and clarify every point, and boom, you're there. That's the challenge of a simpler game, is getting that rule book to be consumable and all that sort of good stuff as well. So I don't know what the point of this video was. I think the point of this video was that sometimes our expectations can change our view of a game, and then our expectations can also diminish our joy for a game once we get it, particularly if the game doesn't meet that, whether it's high or low expectation. But flip side is, hey, if you don't have high expectations, then maybe everything will be fucking awesome and you'll love it. All right. Sorry for all the bad language today. What the heck? You guys go roll some dice, play some games. Don't wait. Don't wait. Don't wait till you retire. Don't wait till the weekend. Don't let someone say this is more important than your hobby. Play your damn games and enjoy them before you drop dead and can't play them. And then your wife is going to throw them out or sell them to me for pennies on the dollar. Just kidding. You won't sell them to me because I'm not buying too many more. Catch you later. Ciao. Roll dice.